In this tutorial, we will talk about how statements in a program are executed, which is called the flow of control. You can alter the order of execution by adding conditional statements which evaluate to true or false. You will learn about the logical operators and short-circuited operators and or. These operators are used to create conditional statements which evaluate to true or false in your programs. You will also learn how to use De Morgan's law to simplify Boolean expressions. Unless otherwise specified, the order of statement execution in your program is linear, one statement after the other in sequence. In this statement, the variable x is created and assigned the value of 3. This statement creates a variable called y and assigns the contents of x into the variable y. This statement takes the contents of x and multiplies that value by 4 and stores the result back into x. Notice that y was not changed. The statement assigning the value for y was already executed, and even though we changed the value of x, the value of y remained unchanged. This chart shows a linear flow of control. Your program starts, you do step A, you do step B, you do step C, and then your program ends. We can change the order of execution by adding conditions or decisions in our code. A condition or decision is a Boolean expression which evaluates to true or false. The statements to be executed depend on the result of this condition. In this example, a condition is evaluated to determine if the temperature is less than 32. If the condition evaluates to true, the tomatoes will be covered and our program will end. If the condition evaluates to false, the tomatoes will be uncovered and the program will end. This is called an if-then statement. Another way to alter flow of control is to execute a statement over and over or repetitively or iteratively. This is called a loop. A condition is evaluated to determine whether or not to execute a statement again. In this example, a condition is evaluated, and if it is true, the statement is executed, and the flow of control returns to the condition statement. The statements will continue to be executed until the condition evaluates to false. You will learn about two loops in this course, the while loop and the for loop. Condition statements use the Java equality or relational operators, which return Boolean, true or false results. Notice the equality operator is two equal symbols together. In this example, an already created variable x is assigned the value 3. This statement tests for equality and will evaluate to true or false. Are the contents of x equal to 4? This expression evaluates to false. This statement tests if the contents of x are equal to 3, which evaluates to true. Boolean expressions can use one of the logical operators, not, and, or. Remember, and has higher precedence than or and will be evaluated first. In this example, a Boolean variable a is created and assigned the value false. This statement is read not a, not false evaluates to true. This statement creates a variable b and assigns the value true. When we use the logical operator and, both operands have to evaluate to true in order for the whole expression to be true. Since a is false and b is true, this expression will evaluate to false. Both have to be true in order for the entire expression to be true. When using the logical or operator, only one of the operands has to evaluate to true. Either a or b has to be true, or they both can be true for the entire expression to evaluate to true. Since b is true in this example, the expression will evaluate to true. In this example, I've created 3 Boolean variables a, b, and c, and assigned the values true, false, and false. If we evaluate this expression, remember and is evaluated first. So the expression would be true or false and false. Remember, and is evaluated first. False and false results in false. Remember, when using the and operator, both operands must be true in order for the expression to evaluate to true. True or false will evaluate to true. Only one of the operands must be true in order for the expression to evaluate to true when using or. Let's look at what happens when we force the OR to be evaluated first. True or false and false. Using parentheses forces evaluation on the OR. True or false will result in true. True and false results in false. So you can see that it makes a difference where the and or are in your expression, because and will be evaluated before or. Logical and or are called short-circuited operators. This means that in complex expressions, if the first expression being evaluated is enough to determine the result of the entire expression, then the second expression will not even be evaluated. This is an example to show how to use short-circuited operators. Suppose we want to test if total divided by count is greater than max. Well, if count happens to contain the value 0, the program will get a runtime error and end. If we make this a complex expression and first test to see if count is 0, the second expression will not even be evaluated if count contains 0. This prevents any runtime error from occurring when count contains 0. Both expressions must evaluate to true in order for and to be evaluated to true. So if the first expression is false, it is not necessary to even test the second expression. De Morgan's law is a way of simplifying Boolean expressions. Simply stated, you're going to distribute the not operator to each term and then change and to or to and. This statement, not A and B, is logically equivalent to not A or not B. I distribute the not sign to each term and then change the and to an or. In this statement, not A or B is logically equivalent to not A and not B. So let's look at a more complex example. First, I'll distribute the outer not to both terms inside. I'll switch the and to an or, and then I'll continue to simplify. Not cancels out the not. And not b greater than 7 is the same thing as saying b is less than or equal to 7. So the original expression and the final simplified version are logically equivalent. In this tutorial, you learned how to alter the flow of control in your program by adding conditions or Boolean expressions that evaluate to either true or false. You learned you can make a decision to execute a statement with an if-then statement. You also learned how to repeat statements over and over while a condition is true using while and for loops. You will learn how to write if-then and loops in upcoming video tutorials. You learned about the logical operators to create conditions and the short-circuited operators and or. You also learned how to use De Morgan's law to simplify Boolean expressions.